So obviously, Heavy Artillery approaches you, and at this point, I'm sure you're aware of other bands getting signed around this particular point to that specific label, and that label has really become like I don't want to like hype it up too much, but it seems like it's become this like really big deal to be signed to Heavy Artillery these days, and it's like really rare to get their stuff. But ultimately, I think Earache owns it, and I think Sony owns Earache, so pretty much you ain't getting any of that shit back. So my question is at that specific point, it was still a new label. Were you starting to see other bands, other friends of yours getting signed to this, and was that an indicator to how or to why you guys signed as well?
When I first started talking to Heavy Artillery, they were different. It was more like a two friends talking. I had a lot of conversations with the label when we ultimately didn't sign with them. And so I thought I had a good grip on, character judgment with these folks too. Turns out I was grossly wrong, but you live and learn. It's made me more cautious in terms of my music now. But yeah, I liked what they were doing initially. Back then, uh, they were doing what they said they were going to do. They got away from their original thing. They were only going to sign speed metal and thrash bands. That was when they went to sign us that first time. That's what I was told. And then they started branching out and signing bands that just weren't, I don't know, just weren't doing anything for them and were off the, I don't know. They were only going to do U.S. based bands, and I think that they started spreading themselves too thin, and I think that's kind of where that label started to go downhill. But I liked what they were doing. The reason they pulled their name from an Auburn compilation, which if you're familiar, Auburn Records is out of Cleveland, you know. So Auburn Records had a compilation called Heavy Artillery that had a tank on the front. That's why they were into that.
Interesting. Had no idea
Yeah. So
about
it
that.
was cool for me, like, yeah, I want to be part of this. They seem to be doing some cool things. It appeared they were doing some cool things for their bands. And again, back then, I also, again, well, they contacted me, and that's how this works, you know.
Sure.